The train comes with a police officer's hand on his gun. He shifts his weight against the door and a flashback loads. The first time a service weapon was pulled in my face, the second time. It made me lay on the ground the third time. It put my hands in the air the fourth time. It pushed me against the wall the fifth time. It told me it was just doing its job the sixth time. It kicked my feet apart the seventh time. It followed me home the eighth time. It grabbed my shirt collar. We are stuck between stations. Read the signs. His hand is on his gun. Read the signs. It is illegal to move between train cars. Read the signs. My body knows how Klan rally a cop's gun feels when it's eye level. I remember the ninth time a service weapon was pulled in my face, the 10th time. I was scared they couldn't tell the difference between me, Stringer Bell, or Furious Styles. I could have been Ricky or Weebay, Mad Max or Trey. We all looked the same under the right racism. I remember the 11th time a service weapon was pulled in my face. It cocked its head like our families were old friends. Like bullets through a black body was a tradition it was raised on. The 12th time a service weapon was pulled in my face, smartphones weren't invented. The 13th time there were no cameras. The 14th time it dared me to swing. The 15th time I thought about it. The 16th time I almost did it. The 17th time it searched my pockets. The 18th time I assumed the position without anything being said.
make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom.
Mother, mother, there's so many of you crying. Oh brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know that we got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Oh, my father, there's no need to escalate. Say now, war is not the answer, no. For only love can conquer hate. You know that we got to find a way. Bring some loving here today. Oh, now pick sides. Pick your lines, don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me, you can see, oh, what's going on, what's going on, hey, what's going on.
Andrew.
Whew. Max.
Yeah, man. It's good to see you, dude.
Man, it's good to see you. It's good to play with you. Man, it's been a rough week this week for sure, Max.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I guess the first thing maybe we want to just address really quickly is that I'm obviously not in my normal surrounding for Syncd.Live, and
Right.
we felt the need for this show that we actually came together. We're doing it safely, but when I say it's good to play with you and be with you, I'm very thankful that I can say that quite literally.
Because we've been making a lot of music together, Max. I mean, we always do, but the last 3 months, there's been a lot of back and forth sessions, but I haven't seen you in over 3 months in person until today. So I'm really glad to see you in person, socially distant, of course.
Yeah.
And but yeah.
So the other thing we should address is that this is not the show that we were planning on doing this week.
Right.
Syncd.Live 2, SL2, this was supposed to be show number 2.
Mm-hmm.
We talked on the phone on Monday. If you saw our last show, we were planning to feature Con Boogie.
Shout out to Con Boogie.
Shout out to Con Boogie. And to do his EP in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
And can you speak a little bit on what happened? Why did we change?
Man, first I want to say that before Syncd.Live 1, I was on an adrenaline rush, and I kept my head down the entire week as we coordinated all of the great musicians that played with us, and I tried my best to not watch the news. And over last weekend, after Syncd.Live was over and I had a chance to really take things in, man, I hit a low point, Max. I went. So yes, our plan was to do Con Boogie's full EP tonight, and Monday we were all on the phone. We were talking, we're making plans of how we were going to execute the show. But then Monday was just like more roughness for me. Tuesday morning, after much thought, I got on the phone as soon as I woke up Tuesday, and I called you and I said, man, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to do a Syncd.Live show this Saturday that is not really speaking to the moment that we're in, because even if no one watches this, I needed to do some things to heal my own heart and my mind from all the things that we've had to process and endure, and Max, I talk to you all the time, multiple times a day, and you've been great. You've been really supportive, and you were telling me like, hey, we don't have to do a show this week. We don't have to do one. And but I felt like pushing through, and you were right there with me, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I mean, come on. We've been doing this a long time, man.
Yeah, man.
And now's the time. Worth mentioning, we're not going to spend this whole time speaking. We're going to bring it back to the music soon.
Oh, for sure.
Con Boogie, when we called him, was right on the same page, and not only that, was beyond supportive behind the scenes, and we can't appreciate his understanding enough. And when we're ready to do a show and when the time's right, Con was in the same mindset. He's like, man, it's not the right time. So thanks to him. We also want to add that this is still a Syncd.Live show.
Yes.
Layla, I see you in the chat. Quincy, I see you in the chat.
I see a lot of Novartis people in the chat. Darmesh, my wife Laverne. I see a lot of people. I see Marion Brooks. Hey Marion, what's up, man?
Our goal with Syncd.Live is to create community, to create a stage during the time of COVID. And even though this show has a different tone than what we were expecting, It's the tone that I needed, but the community and the conversation is still there. So please stay involved, and we see everything you're saying and talk to us through there. With that, I think maybe let's talk about just briefly maybe about the set, because Andrew, you designed, you chose our set.
Mm-hmm.
You reached out to Matt Cuson and I, and we talked about it, but can you briefly enough tell me a little bit about some of the quotes, some of the things that were speaking to you that drove your musical decisions?
So the concept of this show didn't really come together until middle of this week, because I knew that we needed to do something, but I didn't really know what. I finally felt good enough to sit down and really start putting some ideas together. And I remember being a kid back in the early 80s, mid 80s really, when the United States was trying to push to have Martin Luther King holiday established as a national holiday. And I remember in my small town of Dalton, Georgia, shout out to all my Dalton people watching, thank you very much for all your support. We marched in the streets, and I was a little kid, and I remember holding hands with my Uncle George. And my Uncle George Patat, by the way, is I might add, is a white man. And I held his hand, and we sang songs through the street, and I Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around was one of those songs that I enjoyed the most. And so I knew that song spoke to me at 5 years old, strangely enough, and it definitely does right now. So the heartbeat that you're gonna hear throughout this show is based on the fact that right now we all need to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on in this country, because we can control things and affect change. And I shouldn't have to apologize for the disturbing imagery that you may see in this, because I also needed everyone, if you haven't already been reminded, that the things that are going on right now in America, it's not new, okay? It's not new, but we can end it once and for all. And I'm not talking about ending racism, because I actually believe that that's a mindset, and I don't think we're going to be able to end that. But we can end the way that people with that thought process act on that. And so we can do that through policies, through laws, and definitely through policies that need to be in effect with our policing system. And we're going to speak a little bit more to that later on in the show.
Totally. And I know we've talked a lot, but I just want to mention two things briefly, if I could.
Yep.
Above my head, you see PayPal. We are Syncd.Live at gmail.com, and Cash App, Syncd.Live. No E in it, SYNCD. All funds donated tonight, all 100% of them, are being split up amongst the NAACP,
Yep.
the Bail Project, and Minnesota Freedom Fund. So if you have the means, please donate. Let's come together on that. But most importantly, we're here for the music. And then as we launch into the next bit of music, you heard Jive Poetic up front, and coming up in the show, you're going to hear poets Cyrus Aaron and Mahogany L. Brown. These are poets that have been really generous throughout time about sharing their stage with me, and we just thought it was a good thing to give them a stage as well, to speak their piece with words that frankly I don't have. So Andrew, let's get into it.
Let's get into it, man.
All right.
And I contend that the cry of black power is at bottom a reaction to the reluctance of white power to make the kind of changes necessary to make justice a reality for the Negro. I think we've got to see that a riot is the language of the unheard. And what is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear that the economic plight of the Negro poor has worsened over the last few years.
How many summers like this one do you imagine that we can expect?
Well, I would say this, we don't have long. The mood of the Negro community now is one of urgency, one of saying that we aren't going to wait, that we've got to have our freedom. We've waited too long. So that I would say that every summer we are going to have this kind of vigorous protest. My hope is that it will be nonviolent. I would hope that we can avoid riots because riots are self-defeating and socially destructive. I would hope that we can avoid riots, but that we will be as militant and as determined next summer and through the winter as we have been this summer. And I think the answer about how long it will take will depend on the federal government, on the city halls of our various cities, and on white America to a large extent. This is where we are at this point, and I think white America will determine how long it will be and which way we go in the future.
For the first 18, I put my dreams in a round ball. Might have been different if daddy came around more, or maybe not. Like father, like son, cooking with that rock around the clock. Sun up, sundown, we'd run for days straight. Ghetto, a power line to saving grace. Nailed my faith to tire rims and milk crates. Heaven was a parking lot we flipped into a playground where all your pain could be erased with the stroke of a J. Every bucket of prayer, Lord, please take this struggle away. High hopes, for living under low ceiling, trying to keep a head up, but race politics blocking the vision. How can we advance when they trap in the corners before we reach the middle? School, that is. Remember, separate but equal. We all playing with the same kids winning. America got that NCAA spirit. They call them dynasties, but my grandmother called them blue devils. She said they build a program, then create divisions. Establish the privilege, then recruit the poor to buy into the system. This state of mind, all by design. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Cherry picking oppression goes back to the roots. They ain't naturally better, they just got more soil than we do. Even when we win, we lose. We make the bread, but they name the playing field. The owner's box been resembling Charlottesville. They in the room where it happens, sitting around the table in the room where it happens, chanting, kill or be killed. You will not replace us, blood and soil, I hear, but on this side of the table, hands tied and lips tight. Funny how money changes the situation. Now we occupy. Hard to speak up when you'd rather keep your mouth full. Ali got banned for 3 years. Now Colin Kaepernick can't get a deal, but we watching and playing still. After all they done stole, we consider ourselves fans of here. It must be winter. Winter in America, winter in America. And ain't nobody fighting. Everybody just wants to stay safe.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now. Mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
My name is Mahogany L. Brown, and I will be reading And Got Much Space for Wallowing. We walk 3 speed up a block for a 2-piece and a biscuit until the moon scares us back home. Streetlights sound different during an apocalypse. They say pandemic, and all I hear is economic cleansing. Who do you pray for when your tongue is blistered and your throat is on fire and your new neighbors practice an anti-vax life with weekly wine deliveries and you haven't smelled a smell since your hands baked a box lemon cake? All praises due. The ability to have heat and water and a box cake with sprinkles. This is WIC on steroids. This is a baby mama dream deferred. This is a church sermon on Easter Sunday to an empty room of roach-filled pews. Look, we been missed his return to the hood. We been forgot to turn the cheek, wash our hands, wipe our feet, bow thine head to the hate, but swing our sword towards righteousness. Who do you pray to? When the sun is out, but it feels like acid on your skin, and your scalp swoons every time you touch the bald spot with tea tree. How sacred is a death, chambered between bipartisan cupcake promises and a Congress of thieves. Den masters speak Dutch double-handed loans for the homies, and I remember the sky. She read like Ruby Woo. She fired too. I figure I'll see her again soon. When I'm not peering from the basement window, clanking pots at 7 p.m. and dusting off my sinus pills. This whole system is afflicted by disorder. Sky been falling to the tune of pennies from a crooked government that pretends America is heaven. Keep your fists up. This country will feed your children to Dr. Oz if you ain't careful. Another 2% dead, another 2% gone, another 2% born as stock options worth selling like Core Civic. Kingman, Crystal City, Lawton, Newcastle, Two Rivers, Walnut Grove, and Wynn Correctional. Check it. The prisons are still full of bodies Rona ain't take care of yet. Well, I got the luxury of daydreaming about chicken wings and hot sauce. With a palate ruptured by this new age plague, look north, look north, look north for the setting sun. I heard it's gonna shine forever, whether we praise it or not.
Big thank you to Cyrus and Mahogany Brown. Also, again, up top you heard Jive Poetic. Thank you very, very much for their words, their talents, their artistry. We appreciate them a ton.
For sure. Man, Max, we got some difficult days ahead. As Martin Luther King so eloquently put it, the night before his death, which was what that last sample from him that you heard was from in Memphis, Tennessee. Man, Max, I just want to tell you real quick about how I have personally started my own healing process, but not healing for myself, but healing so that I could make a difference. because that is the only thing that's going to bring me comfort, from here forward. The other day I watched the town hall with President Obama, and he urged everyone to contact their local level authorities, your mayor, your police chief, because we have to make sure that we know what's going on in the most close area around us, in close proximity to yourself. I got on the phone and I called my mayor. Thank you, Mayor Carey, for taking the time to talk to me this week. And the things that we need to be asking them, and I got my computer here because I don't want to forget this stuff. We need to ask them about what policies are in place for their use of force, okay? And in addition to that, is the police department and local municipality working on the 8-point state of police reform? Some of those points include mandatory de-escalation of conflicts, a ban on shooting at moving vehicles, timely reporting of violent incidents, and prohibition on some forms of restraint used by police like chokeholds and strangleholds, which we have seen is lethal and inhumane. That's what I am doing personally. I have a meeting on Monday with the chief of police here in my town in New Jersey, and I would like to have a productive conversation with him, not accusing him of doing anything, because we all know that all policemen are not bad, but I need to know what they plan on doing to help us with the bad apples that may be amongst the police groups, and if heaven forbid we have a problem with those kinds of individuals, what will happen to them? Will they be held responsible to the full extent of the law? Not a gluten-free extent of the law. Shout out to all my gluten-free people, no shade, but the full extent. And that's what I am going to be doing here in the coming days and weeks. And I plan on branching out as I feel comfortable doing that. But we can all affect change. We can do it, but we have to speak up, and we have to do it right now, because no more black men shall die in this country at the hands of the police, period.
Yeah, man. Sorry, it's hard.
Sorry if I went
No, it's hard to follow. What are you sorry for? That's it.
I'm sorry, man.
You're always a tough act to follow, no matter what. Listen, I look, Andrew, I agree and completely stand behind all of this. I think my bit to add, and this is something you and I have talked about, Andrew, is that considering the money in all of this is really important on every level. The mass poverty that we see amongst black communities, the history that has led to that being set up to be the case, and then the subsequent injustices that follow are something that need to be adjusted.
Right.
As a white person who has money, I'm not here to preach some sob story or anything like that, but all I'll add is that in addition to other things, I am kind of trying to be proactive with my money, starting to make regular donations, but also being conscious about what companies I'm supporting in larger corporations. And we don't have to get into that now. This is still a concert and it's a lot of music, but I'm happy to discuss that with anybody who wants to hit me up in the DMs and we can talk about it for sure. But
hey Max, also they can talk to us directly on Instagram, Syncd.Live. We would also like everyone to push the subscribe button on the Syncd.Live YouTube page. Make sure that you select the bell so that you get notifications when we go live on Saturday nights. You'll get a notification on your phone and then you could hit it and you can join us for these weekly shows that we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
So that's important.
And I think, and just to elaborate on also on exactly why that's important to us, that's not us just like plugging this platform for the sake of plugging it.
Right.
It's that because of COVID and the situation in the world right now, artists don't have a stage largely. And we're attempting to give them a stage because artists have something to say.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we plan on saying it, and we plan on doing things. We need everyone's help. Everyone that's here, you're helping by being here. Please don't forget to hit the link up there and make donations. All of these donations are going to the NAACP, the Bail Fund, and the Minnesota Freedom Fund. Did I get it right, Max?
The Bail Project.
The Bail Project. Sorry about that.
Close enough for
Sorry
jazz.
about that. I
Close
knew I had
enough
to do
for
something,
jazz.
Bill. And so, yeah, man. Sorry if I offended my cousin Juanita or any gluten-free people. That wasn't my intention,
It's all
okay?
good.
I know you got problems with the gluten.
Well, Andrew, thanks for sharing with me and all of us personally. Thank you for sharing with me musically. And I look forward to change. I look forward to action, but I also look forward to being an artist for the rest of my life alongside you and enjoying that experience and the experiences to come, man.
All the way, Max. All the way, man. So we got another song?
Yeah, we got one more left. Should
All
we
right.
go ahead and get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, man.
I was born by the river in a little tin and old, like the
Yeah, man.
It's gonna come.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna make sure that it comes. We're gonna do what it takes. Thank you, Tanya Jones. I see all Tanya's family in the comments. Thank you guys for coming out to support. We love Tanya. Thank you to Kennedy. Thank you to Matt Cuson for always rocking with us and just being the one of the best dudes that we know. And if you know Matt, you know that's true. Thanks to Max. Thanks to our respective families. I see Max's mom in the comments. I see my home church, Mount Zion Baptist Church in here. I didn't even know y'all was on YouTube like that. Don't y'all be looking at my search history.
Man. What's wrong with you?
Man, I'll be looking at some different stuff on YouTube, Max. I'm just...
Your church is here.
Full disclosure.
Yeah. Man, look, dude. The change is gonna come, and
yeah, man.
And I'm excited for everything to come. I guess I'm scared, but I'm also excited.
I'm excited because we're together right now more than I feel like we've ever been, and seeing people of all different colors and creeds together, equally as disgusted by what has happened, and now fully realizing that what we've been saying for a long time is true, and now they've literally seen it again, and it's time to make change happen. So we're gonna do that together, Max.
Yep.
I'm ready. I'm pumped. I'm motivated. I feel encouraged. Let's go forth and let's do it.
Yeah, man. Last time, you see the PayPal, the Cash App above my head.
Is it up there?
It's yeah. That's the right. Yeah.
I always wanted to do that when people be
there
like,
you go. It's right there. And the donation is going to go to the 3 charities on behalf of this entire Syncd.Live community. And so if you have the means, please give.
Please.
In the meantime, just love each other. And I clunkily end the show.